So yeah, thanks for joining me, Jerry and Adam Kidd,
Hello.
father and son, both in bands, both playing. Well, you're playing together, aren't you, at the Green Door store in Brighton in a few days' time?
And the 100 Club in London.
Graham 100 Club. Wow, legendary. You ever played
Yeah.
there before, Adam?
No, it'll be my first time at the 100 Club. Well, I've been there as a punter, but
Yeah.
I've not performed on that stage.
So Adam's from the Fragile Creatures, a Brighton band who've been going for a few years now, released some very fine music, albums and singles, and you've got a new track as well, haven't you, which is going to be coming out in the next few days, Granddaddy. And Jerry Kidd is from the Red Guitars, legendary 80s indie band who had a number of indie hits, released a couple of albums, I think, and only fairly short-lived, weren't you? You only, I think he split up around about 1986. Is that right?
I left the band in 1984, and we only released one album when I was in the band. We released also 3 singles. The band then went on, signed to Virgin Records, released a second album that I wasn't involved in.
Okay. And then after that, they called it a day.
They called it a day, yeah.
Okay. So it's been nearly 40 years since you stepped onto stage with Red Guitars, yeah? So just to give a bit of history for those who aren't familiar with the band, I think you formed in the late 70s or early 80s, and you had things were going pretty good for you, weren't you? You seem to be getting a lot of press. You did John Peel sessions, you had that album, singles that were in the indie top 10. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at some figures, and apparently your debut single sold 60,000 copies. Can you verify that?
Yes, that is true. We did very well for a totally independent band, of which we were very proud.
Yeah, I mean, obviously 60,000 sounds a lot in this day and age, but in those days it wasn't so unusual, was it?
No,
it
was no.
Pre-digital, pre-download and streaming.
Yeah.
And Good Technology was your first song, wasn't it? And then Marimba Jive and tracks like that. I think Marimba Jive and Be With Me both reached #1 in the UK indie charts. Is that right?
Yeah, but I wasn't on Be With Me. That was the second iteration of the band.
Okay, all right.
Right.
So what was it like in those days? Can you remember?
Well, no, yeah. Well, you've just done the quote, haven't you? If you were there, if you can remember it, you probably weren't there.
Yeah.
No, we had a whale of a time. It was really good fun.
Yeah.
We toured all around Britain and on the continent. And there's one of the guys in another Red Guitar just behind me.
Hello.
And yeah, he's cooking the tea, so he's a bit busy now. Yeah. But no, we had a great time, and the rapport has been rapidly re-established since we've got back together again.
Okay. So how have you been spending the last 38 years?
Well, I've done a variety of different things. A bit of teaching, a bit of building work, a bit of quite a lot of IT stuff, and web design, things like that.
Has music has it been a part of your life in the interim?
It was on and off, on and off. But I haven't had a regular band at all, not for a long time.
So what was the impetus to get back on the road again and play some shows?
Well, there's a company called AEG Presents, one of the biggest promotion companies in the world, actually. And the CEO of the guy who runs the British company saw us play with the Smiths back in 1983, when I think he was a lighting guy at Leicester, at a gig in Leicester.
Okay.
And he just remembered us, and he began his slow progress up the rock ladder and eventually reached the heights of CEO of this promotion company. And he just gave me an email one day and said, were we still around? Would we be interested in doing some shows? So we're still all alive, just about. So I said yes, and I contacted the other people, and they all agreed. And so he put together a short tour for us. And we had the first show last night. Steve Homer, that's his name, he turned up. He'd just been to see Johnny Marr in Sheffield, and Johnny sent us his best wishes for the gig, which was nice. So it was a very nostalgic, but very exciting and very now moment as well.
Yeah. So it was the first gig last night.
Yeah.
How did it go?
Went really well, really well. We had a good audience. We played in Farsley near Leeds in the old Woolen, which is a venue in an old mill. Lovely venue, good crowd, great sound. We had a really great night.
Brilliant. So you got a day off already?
Yeah. Well, we're getting on a bit now.
Yeah.
So.
I take it there isn't much rock and roll excess at the moment, is there? Well,
I'm drinking a glass of beer, so
yeah, great.
I've just got juice.
What have you got, Adam? Juice.
I've just got juice. Yeah, just got some juice on.
Yeah, it depends what you mean by juice. So let's briefly bring in Adam. And Adam obviously is your son, and I can only imagine that he was influenced to pick up a guitar and to get into music because of you, or did it happen completely independently?
I think we had a lot of music in the house, obviously, but I was a bit slow to get into it because I think my brother was just the guitarist. He was massively into playing lead guitar for years, and I had this sort of slightly rebellious streak. I'm not going to be like him. Then I think my friends asked me to join their band in the mid-90s as Britpop was exciting. I was about 14, and they were like, well, everyone knew that my dad had been in a band and my brother was this great lead guitarist. So they just went, well, he'll pick it up, get him to join the band. And yeah, I haven't looked back since.
So have you ever played on the same bill as your dad before?
Yes. We've actually, my old band Kiyomori supported a couple of parts of the Red Guitars reunions. And I've actually played in versions of Red Guitars couple of times. Most recently, I think I was playing bass in an almost all kid band, house band, for a few years ago for Dad's birthday, where we played a few songs. So I love those songs, and it's going to be great to see them performing with a whole band together again.
So when was the last time you played in Brighton? Do you recall? Or
yeah, I played at the Pavilion.
Yeah,
and it was a great gig, really great gig.
And that was back in the 1980s.
That was towards the end of 1983, I think.
Right. The name Red Guitars. Can you talk about that? Where does that come from? Is it simply you've got a load of red guitars, or is there something a bit more to it than that?
Well, we without making too much of it, we were a kind of left-wing band, and we did have a political point of view, and we did have songs that voiced that point of view. So that's probably why we were called Red Guitars. But we just liked the sound of it, really. I mean, we went through a few different names, like most bands do, and that was the one that stuck. Yeah,
I mean, in that period in the 80s, 70s, late 70s and 80s, there was politics and music seemed to be intertwined to a degree that's not really existed before or since. And it was obviously, I think you were basically playing, you were doing your shows and releasing stuff in in the Margaret Thatcher era. And you did a lot of benefit shows as well, didn't you?
Yeah, we did, particularly for the miners. It was the miners' strike was on.
Yeah.
We did a few shows to raise money for them.
Adam, tell me about Grandaddy, the new single.
There's sort of layers of things going on, which happens in a lot of my songs, but ultimately it was this idea of not giving up on people. We've gone through these times where there's a lot of division, a lot of political polarization, and we can kind of get into this mindset where somebody with a different attitude to ours is a waste of time. But it's kind of thinking about not giving up on them, particularly thinking about people who are very nationalistic and militaristic. The verses are kind of about conflicts, or the result of conflicts.
So what's the plan moving forward? Are you going to be, have you got some more material on the stove, as it were?
We've got about 9 songs that are rehearsed and ready to play, and we've recorded about 6 or 7 of them in various stages of completion. So I think we're going to kind of roll out some singles every couple of months or so, and then maybe bring out an album in the new year. We're still rolling on and just enjoying making music.
Obviously, this tour feels like it's a sort of dipping your toe in the waters, do what you used to do, and see how it feels. Do you have any plans moving forward? Are you going to just sort of see how you feel?
We decided with Steve Homer, when we agreed to do the tour, that we'd just do this relatively short 7-date tour.
Yeah.
See how it went, really. He was approached by some other venues that wanted to put us on, but we thought we'd just, a major factor in this is that the guitar player, Hallam Lewis, lives in Cape Town. So he's had to come over for the tour. So obviously there are financial implications to that. But, you know, we have had a really great time. We've been together. We've been rehearsing for a year, but, you know, he's been rehearsing via Zoom and stuff. But he's been over here for a couple of weeks now. It's been really good. It's all kind of slotted back in. I think there's a really good vibe. And we have been working on some new material, although we're not actually playing anything new at the in the gigs at the moment, because we just haven't had enough time. But to answer your question, well, hopefully, we might do some recording, and Hallam may come back over in the summer, and we'd kind of like to do a couple of festivals if that's possible, and that it may be possible. So, yeah, very exciting.
Okay, well, good stuff. Look forward to seeing you play in Brighton at the Green Door store. And that'll be the first time that, basically, it'll be the first time that Fragile Creatures and Red Guitars have played together on the same bill. So very exciting. Good luck with it, Jerry. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the tour. I know you've only done 1 date so far, but...
No, it was a good start. So
it must have been, was it nerve-wracking, the first one? Or did you just take to it like a duck to water?
I was a little nervous to start with, but once I got on stage, you know, we worked really hard to... There were a few kind of clunky bits, but on the whole, it went really well.